our gospel lesson, we hear about Jesus stepping onto the world stage by beginning his public ministry in a new place and home in Capernaum by the sea. Wow, sounds lovely. I just love water. Jesus has heard about the arrest of John the Baptist, and in that news, Jesus hears the call, the marching orders or summons of God to begin his own ministry of teaching, proclaiming that the kingdom of God has come near and curing, healing all the diseases and sicknesses of the people, as we just heard. So he leaves behind his hometown of Nazareth, cutting immediate ties of kinship, leaving behind his working trade, probably as a carpenter, and all that is comfortable and familiar to him. Why? Well, it's necessary that Jesus focuses on the compelling call of God and let go of other distractions, ties and responsibilities. Just as Jesus also realizes he will need a group of people to join him on this God venture of fishing for people. Later, I'm sure, after spending time on how to begin his ministry, Jesus walks by the Sea of Galilee and calls two sets of brothers as his nucleus of disciples, Simon Peter and Andrew, James and John. It's interesting that these four men are all fishermen. Note, when Jesus calls Simon, Peter and Andrew, they are casting their nets into the sea to catch fish. When Jesus calls James and John, they are in their boat with their father, mending their nets, which was no doubt a common occupation if you fish regularly. A common denominator in the call to both sets of brothers is that they immediately, after Jesus calls them to join him, leave the fish and nets and they take off with Jesus for the unknown road ahead. Wow, you just can't help thinking how compelling a person Jesus must have been, and I'm sure they had heard about Jesus, and you know, they must have had a hunger in their hearts, but to just drop everything. The way in which these men did drop everything to follow Jesus highlights the urgency of God's call and the ability of Jesus to persuade his followers. The two occupations these two sets of brothers were doing when Jesus stopped by were casting nets for fish and mending nets. Both of these occupations point to similar occupations, but this time with people. Jesus wanted his disciples to catch people in the net of God, and part of that mission was to mend people, to heal them of all their physical, emotional and psychological pain and sickness, even to mending broken hearts and lives and bringing about forgiveness and reconciliation, mending relationships as opposed to mending nets. And in all of that, to begin to comprehend the length, depth and height of God's love for each one of his children. Well, it seems that in the complex world we live in today and in a post-Christian society, casting a net to catch a person or people in the net of God isn't as easy as it sounds. You see, our busy lives dictate a lot more buzzing around and doing things than telling others about Jesus and listening for a response. So, in this modern day world, we must be more creative in following Jesus' mandate to fish for people. A woman named Mary A. Pink Mullaney seems to exemplify a creative way of engaging and fishing for people. Maybe she always wore pink. I don't really know. Anyway, Pink Mullaney, as she was known, lived in Wisconsin, and she died at the age of 85 years on September the 1st, 2013. She left behind an adoring family of 6 children and 17 grandchildren. Wow. But more than that, Pink left her family and all who knew her a legacy of creative ways to catch people in the net of God that she obviously practiced as her children decided to pass on her legacy after she died. What they shared was printed in the Huffington Post on September the 7th, 2013. These are the lived words of a mother and grandmother and faithful disciple of Jesus. This is what they wrote about their mother and grandmother, again, that she lived. Let a dog or two or three share your bed. Say the rosary while you walk them. Go to church with a chicken sandwich in your purse. Cry at the consecration every single time. Give the chicken sandwich to your homeless friend after Mass or communion. Go to a nursing home and kiss everyone. When you learn someone's name, share their patron saint story and their feast day so they can celebrate. Invite new friends to Thanksgiving dinner. If they're from another country and you have trouble understanding them, learn to listen with an accent. Never say mean things about anybody. They are poor souls to pray for. Correspond with the imprisoned and have lunch with the cognitively challenged. Offer rides to people carrying a big load or caught in the rain or summer heat. Believe the hitchhiker you pick up who says he's a landscaper and his name is Pete Moss. That's good, oh goodness. Help anyone struggling to get their kids into a car or shopping cart or across a parking lot. Give to every charity that asks. Choose to believe the best about what they do with your money, no matter what your children say they discovered online. Allow the homeless to keep warm in your car while you're at Mass or communion. Take magazines you've already read to your doctor's office for others to enjoy. Do not tear off the mailing label because if someone wants to contact me, that would be kind of nice. Wow, that's pretty awesome, isn't it? This lady obviously got fishing for people can be done in many ways other than, literally throwing a line out for a fish or just starting to tell somebody about Jesus. She obviously understood that you have to get involved with people, you get into conversations, you help people, you be kind and loving, and then the door opens and you are able to share about Jesus and maybe catch some fish in your net. Dear people of God, in this new year of 2020, may we follow in Pink Mulaney's footsteps and find and practice our own ways of fishing for people and catching them in the net of God, so they will become a part of the family of God and inherit the gift